What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. And if you have not been keeping up to date with Undecember, there is a huge update dropping here on April 27th, just a couple days away. It is the Act 12 Ganida update. And this update is going to bring about a mountain of changes, most importantly, seasons to the game, which we'll talk a little bit more in depthly here in just a moment. But I want to go through all of these key core elements that are coming with this update. And I don't want to go too detailed with them, as there's going to be patch notes that are going to be something for us to comb through and go over, that are going to be much more informative in terms of the fine details around these elements rather than us speculating or guessing about them. So we're just going to talk about what we do know and what has been revealed so far in a simplistic format, just to keep you up to date on what's happening with the game. So the first thing to talk about that's coming with this Act 12 update: new weapons. All right, so there's a new weapon being added. It is these dual hand crossbows. So if you've played a demon hunter in Diablo 3 before, think that, you know, very mobile, rapid fire animation type gameplay. So should be a lot of fun for those of you who enjoyed demon hunters in Diablo 3. So that is going to come with a bunch of new abilities that function specifically with those weapons. There are also going to be new skills that are introduced for those, all the other weapons and weapon types that exist within the game. So between melee and magic and bow, etc., there are going to be new abilities that you're going to be able to use as well. They're also looking to do a major rebalance of underutilized skills and links and trying to improve them in order to increase the amount of build diversity that currently exists within the game. So that's gonna be one of those things that I'll be curious to see more of the finer details on come patch notes. Going from there, we are obviously getting the Act 11 is already in, but we're getting Act 12. If you haven't played since Act 11 was introduced and Act 12 is going to be new for you, there is a new thing with the story systems to talk about. Starting with Act 11, you are going to be able to have these two options at the bottom of your map: normal difficulty and challenge difficulty. You can activate challenge difficulty at any time, but it's important to know that there's some things to know with this. Normal difficulty and challenge difficulty have different difficulties, obviously, but it's more that the mobs function at different level ranges. So at normal difficulty, the mobs are level 70, monster level 70. At challenge difficulty, they're at monster level 100. You ideally don't want to engage with challenge difficulty. Challenge difficulty is more of a thing that was introduced with, you know, people being already max level geared out when Act 11 first came out, etc. And normal difficulty is for when you're going through your first playthrough. The big difference between the two, if you're going through Act 11 or Act 12 for the first time, is that the story quest that you play through and interact with in the towns, the quests that you do here, if you complete them in normal, you will have to complete them again in challenge difficulty. But if you do them in challenge difficulty first, it will automatically complete them in normal difficulty as well. So if you have the means and gear to do challenge difficulty, it can be better to do challenge difficulty from the purposes of saving time. If not, you'll just have to do it again at some point once you're more geared, and you just go through all of it again. They have different rewards as well for the quests, so it's not like a total waste to just like do it again. There are rewards that come from the quest. So that's like the main discrepancies with the act changes, having there be two different difficulties, as it will reset the instance as well. So the quests are there, you know, this is where this one is. And if we go here, we can see that the monster level is now 100. So different monster levels, just something to keep in mind. Don't just jump into challenge difficulty as soon as you know, get to Act 11 necessarily. You may not be geared for it, whatever have you. And the reason why I talk about that is because of what we mentioned before: seasons. Seasons are being introduced to the game. Seasons are going to function kind of as a catch-up system to the normal elements of the game. They have a new director for the game, Undecember, and one of the difficulties and challenges that they've come to realize with Undecember, you know, Undecember is originally this permanent progression ARPG, And one of the difficulties that has come with that is if you are a new player who wants to check out the game right now, there is a very large barrier to entry in order to get into the game. And one of the ways they're looking to remedy that is with these seasons. Now, seasons aren't going to have these special new systems that they introduce every single time, like a PoE league. Seasons are going to be a rapid progression environment that players will be able to play in for 3 to 4 month windows of time. So for 3 to 4 months, you'll make a character on the season. It'll have a regular seasonal character, and then there's also hardcore, of course. So you can do a hardcore season character as well. And for that duration of time, inside of that seasonal environment, you will have 3 times progression. So like XP increase on like chaos statue, things like that. You will have increased loot drop rate, like massively increased loot drop rate. I believe it's estimated to be about 3 times loot drop rate increase. So huge loot drop increase as well. They want to increase, in order to help improve, gear acquisition and gearing up and, reward that great feeling of getting loot, of course. Right. And again, like we were talking about with that chaos statue, people talk about chaos statue being one of those things that takes super long to level up. And, people feel like they can't level it up in time in the 3-month windows, because normally chaos statue resets every like 3 months. At 3 times increase, you should have no problem leveling your chaos statue if you're actively playing the game. Keep in mind, with that 3 times increase on the progression, you need to be careful that your character is keeping up with the difficulty as well in terms of your gearing. You need to make sure that you are still utilizing that loot drop rate on the resources, and you are crafting and enchanting and optimizing your gear as you're going along. Otherwise, you are going to run into an issue where the difficulty that you have available to you is going to be much higher than what your character's gear is able to handle. And that can feel kind of bad if you have, say, access to, level 10 chaos statue, but realistically you can really only do level 5 chaos statue, etc., things like that, just because your gear imbalance is so wonky. Now, obviously that's not a one-to-one example of how it would work, because you wouldn't be able to access certain chaos statue levels without doing the chaos statue bosses to clear them, which would qualify you. But more of just trying to provide the example of that, you want to make sure that your gear is able to keep up with the current content that is available to your character. And that includes when you come into the new acts and you have the option of story mode or challenge mode. You don't want to just hop into challenge mode at level 70 with rinky dink level 70 leveling gear and then have a hissy fit that you can't complete challenge mode content. Challenge mode content is not designed for you to complete your first time that you get there at level 70 with your rinky dink leveling gear. So have realistic expectations for yourself with that. Along with that, there's a bunch of additional quality of life updates that are coming with inventory improvements, alchemy, slot improvements. They're looking to make certain account elements universal across your characters so that you're not paying for them individually. And there's some more stuff involving the monetization that wasn't super clear to me. And so that's going to be one of those things we're going to wait to see in the patch notes to talk about a little bit more before we hunker down on whatever these monetization changes are that they're making, be it for better or worse. Additionally, the game is going to be moving into a global client. And on this global client, all of the regions are going to have a connected auction house. So this auction house in the game is going to have complete intercontinent connection functionality. So cross-region functionality. So if I list something on NA, somebody from KR can buy it. If somebody from KR lists something, somebody from EU can buy it, and so on. So the auction house is going to function in a complete global format to where any region is going to be able to have access to whatever is posted at any time. And that should help bring a nice global stable auction house, and we'll just have all the values be the same for what the loot is. That way, you know, if one region is more populated than another, you know, another region's prices aren't going to be like through the roof in comparison, etc. And, you know, you have the different regions complaining about it. I remember on NA release, NA's prices for like gold statues were so much higher for people to buy them than they were on EU. EU's were like really low. And so NA was making a bunch of rubies early on from that. And then EU was just like drowning in the fact that they you know, couldn't sell statues for more than 10, 15 rubies in the first like 2 days, while I was selling them for like 90 on NA. So that type of stuff, you know, that'll be a nice global auction house there. So a lot of really cool stuff coming. Looking forward to everything that's going to happen with it. I'm very curious to check out seasons and to see what they do for the skill balancing. But patch notes will be coming here in another like day or two. And then we'll go through all that and talk about it on stream for you guys. So if you want to catch us live and ask us any questions there, twitch.tv/Zav is where you can find us. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment about what you think about the upcoming update, and hope you have a good one, and we'll catch you in the next one.